Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser, along here with Justin and Afrio. And Week 11 starts with a big matchup in the NFC East. You got the first place Philadelphia Eagles, which we all expected to be on top, especially with their addition of Saquon Barkley. And then you got probably the most surprising team in the NFL, and that's the Washington Commanders. They're in second place at 7-3. Jayden Daniels is clearly the offensive rookie of the year. He's had an outstanding season. The defense has been improved. Dan Quinn's done a really good job this year. So we got the Eagles and Commanders tomorrow night in Philadelphia. And I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a really good game between these two teams. I think both offenses are going to play well. Jalen since the bye week, 15 total touchdowns, 1 pick. I think Saquon Barkley has a good game on the ground. But I do think the Commanders, even though they could be without Brian Robinson again, I think they play well too. I think Jayden Daniels plays a really good game. But I think injuries are going to be the difference for the Commanders. I think not having Marshawn Lattimore and not having Brian Robinson hurt them last game because they had trouble running the ball last game, and they got beat on that third down. When they blitzed, they got beat on that third down to Mike Williams last game against the Steelers. I think the Eagles are going to get into the 30s. I think Washington is going to try to keep up with them, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think this is going to be a close, competitive game between these two teams, these two NFC East rivals. But I'm going to go with the Eagles here. The Eagles are playing really well. I'm going to go with them to win their 6th straight. I got the Eagles here, and I got the Eagles 31-24. But Justin, can Jayden Daniels lead the Commanders to an upset win and get them back into first place in the NFC East?
I got the Eagles here as well, 28-24. I think Washington's going to have a tough time stopping Philadelphia's rushing attack right now. And last week, the way that the Commanders lost, a kind of heartbreaker. Pittsburgh trying to, get in and jump in that 4th down, and they were out there for over 36 minutes of Commanders defense last week. And the Eagles starters too came out. Sirianni actually was responsible, took them out like 3rd, 4th quarter last week and got them some extra rest there. So I think that too. I think Washington will put up some points, but I just don't think that the Commanders are going to make enough stops in this one. And the Eagles, you mentioned, they're playing some really good football right now, and they figured some things out offensively. Barkley's been such a great pickup for him. So I think the Eagles do get this one at home.
Yeah, I do. I think they get this one. I definitely think they get this one. But Washington, there's a really good chance Washington can win, though. There's a good chance Washington win. You saw Sirianni a week ago, almost blow a game. So there's a chance Washington win. I just think Philly has the better roster and more talent, which is expected because this was a year where a lot of us thought that the Eagles would be competing for a championship, and we all thought this would be a rebuild year for the Commanders. The Commanders are way ahead of schedule from where we thought they would be.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They are. Jayden Daniels really helped that out. Dan Quinn's done a really good job so far. Cliff Kingsbury's done a good job as offensive coordinator. So, yeah, and the Commanders traded Dotson literally, a week before the season started to Philly, and you kind of felt that was a piece, where the Commanders this year weren't going to really be much of a contender, but that they definitely have been. And, it's been such an awesome story this year, and they've been a huge surprise. And, the future's finally seems really bright there, for Washington with the new ownership, the new, now you have their franchise quarterback, you hope in Jayden Daniels. So, yeah, the future's really bright and watched it for the first time in a long time.
Definitely is. Yeah, Washington. Yeah, the future is definitely bright there. So we will ask the question. We'll ask this question about these two teams. And yes, the winner of this game, the Eagles, if they win, they stay in first place. And if the Commanders win, they go back into first place. But the big question going into this game is, does the winner of this game win the NFC East? And I am going to say no. I'm going to say no because I think the Eagles win this game, but I do think the Commanders win the division. And here's why: the Eagles' the Eagles definitely have a tougher schedule down the stretch. They go to the Rams after this. They go to the Ravens. They still got to play the Steelers. If you look at this Commander schedule, if you look at the Commander schedule after this game, Dallas at home, Tennessee at home, at New Orleans, and they do have Philly, but it's a home game against Philly, Atlanta, and Dallas. There's a very good chance they could go 12-5, even 13-4, and maybe get like the 2 seed behind the Lions in the NFC. So I don't think the winner of this game wins the division. I think the Eagles win, but I do think the Commanders win the division.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Commanders still should, even if they lose, are the front runner because you mentioned that schedule. You know, the Cowboys now without Dak the rest of the year. You know, Tennessee's not very good. Saints are kind of quit on the year, so they fired the coach. So yeah, I think the Commanders should still be able to win this division as long as kind of no injuries. And yeah, you mentioned it. You know, Eagles still have the Steelers. They still got the Ravens. The Rams. I know Monday night was not pretty, but they're starting to get healthy. So yeah, I think the Eagles' schedule here is a little bit tougher, and I absolutely could see Washington here going like 12-5, something like that, and being able to win this division.
Yeah, we all thought last year when the Eagles had that, the Eagles had that 1-game lead with 2 games to play last year and had Arizona and the Giants their last 2 games. We thought they were going to win the division, and they completely collapsed. We've seen the Eagles collapse in December, so I mean, I don't think they're going to collapse like they did last year, but yeah, but still, I don't completely trust that Nick Sirianni has this thing completely turned around. And I know they're playing really good football, but if you look at some of the wins, one was against the Browns, one was against the Giants, the Bengals, who are decent, but they're not playing well. Jacksonville, and then Dallas without Dak. So yeah, give them credit for winning games, but even if they win this game, I don't totally trust them to win the division.
Yeah, I don't either because Sirianni will always kind of hand the opponent a couple points. He'll go for like a bad 2-point conversion. You'll see for him going like a 4th down, he shouldn't, where they should kick the field goal, and he won't take the point. So yeah, he will kind of give the other team kind of a couple points there, and yeah, that could be a difference maker when you play some really good teams like a Baltimore, like the Steelers, even kind of like a Commanders team, or um. So yeah, I could see the Eagles dropping a game or two they shouldn't. It was very disappointing the way their season ended, and yeah, they collapsed. They at the end of last year, and then they got blown out in that game against Tampa Bay. Lately it seems like they kind of fixed things. Early on in the year, didn't look great. They were winning games, but it kind of looked like something was still missing. And pretty much since that Giant game, they've looked a lot better.
They definitely have. They definitely have. It should be a really good game. It should be a really good game between these two teams. They play again in late December, so it should be a really good game between these two teams tomorrow night in Philadelphia. But we got to move on to the biggest game in Week 11, and that is between the Chiefs and the Bills. I know the Chiefs have owned them in the playoffs, but let's not forget this. The Bills have won the last 3 regular season meetings between these teams, beat them in 2021, beat them in 2022, and beat them in 2023. So they have won the last 3 regular season meetings between these two teams. And if this was a healthy Bills team, I'd pick them to win this game. But the reason I'm not picking them to win this game is they're not healthy going into it. They could be without Amari Cooper. They could be without Dalton Kincaid. They're going to be without Keon Coleman. And I think that's a big reason why I think the Chiefs stay undefeated and win this game. I think the Chiefs move the ball in the Bills' defense. I think Mahomes has a good game. I think they're able to have some success running the ball with Kareem Hunt. I do think the Bills will move the football. I think Josh Allen will move the football. But I think the problem is that I think the Chiefs will cash in on their red zone possessions, and I do think the Bills will get a field goal or 2. And I think that's ultimately be the difference. Now, Josh Allen has had a lot of success against the Chiefs in the regular season, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills won. But I'm going to take the healthier team here. I'm going to go with the healthier team, and I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. I'm going to go with the Chiefs to go to 10-0, beating the Bills 28-24. But Justin, can Josh Allen lead the Bills to their 4th straight win in the regular season over the Chiefs?
I think they do get the win this week, 23-20. I think Josh Allen plays one off. Buffalo, we've kind of finally seen be able to have somewhat of a running game this year. And, that could be something that could be crucial for them, when we get to January playoff football, especially if they're playing up at home. I think the Bills, I know, you mentioned there could be a lot of injuries on the Bills offensively. I think, with Kansas City, the left tackle spot's a huge mystery. That it's been a big weakness. I think the Bills can get pressure on Mahomes, and if they can kind of contain him when he tries to get outside the pocket, maybe that leads to a sack and or a turnover, something like that. Like, I do think Josh Allen plays well in this one. I do think he finds a couple other guys to maybe step up. Maybe Shakir, Curtis Samuel, kind of have a couple come up with some big catches in this game. And I'm going to take the Bills here at home to win this one 23-20.
And you talked about the left tackle position for the Chiefs, and that's big. That's big. Yeah, they struggled last week. They struggled to protect Patrick Mahomes. And if they have trouble running the ball like they did last week, it could be the same thing. But I think they'll do a better job running the ball this week. Buffalo struggles against the run. That's gonna be the big key of the game. If Kansas City could be, if they could, run the football well, I think they win the game. I think they win the game because I think they think they'll run the ball better than Buffalo because I think Kansas City's game plan on defense is going to be to contain James Cook because there's a good chance that Cooper and Kincaid won't play. So I think that'll be their game plan. That's why I think this is close and competitive, but I'm going Kansas City here. But yes, the running game can be very important for Kansas City in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Pacheco, I don't know if he'll play, but I know they started kind of the clock there for he came back to practice this week, so maybe you even get like an Isaiah Pacheco back potentially. But yeah, like even if you don't, Kareem Hunt's done a pretty nice job this year. I know last week he struggled, but they've been able to kind of find it, different ways. With Kareem Hunt to run the football this year, they've been a little bit, if they, if the Chiefs do struggle and they can make the Chiefs one dimensional, then yeah, I could see I could see the Chiefs having a tough time because I know Hopkins been playing well and and Juju, but they've been okay. But like they just don't have that explosive offense. So if you can kind of contain them from that explosive plays, and you can kind of take the short game away from them, I do think that puts the Bills in like a good spot.
Now, we know both these teams are probably the top two teams in the AFC, and this is a huge game because if the Bills, win it, they get closer to home field advantage. And if they lose it, the Chiefs pretty much clinch home field advantage because they'd have a 4-game lead on the Bills, and they'd have a 4-game lead on and they have like kind of a 4-game lead on the Ravens too because they beat them too. So the big question is should the winner of this game should the winner of this game be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC? And I'm going to say no, because even if the Bills win, I feel like we've seen this movie before. We've seen it before. They've beaten them 3 times in the regular season, and 2 of those years they've lost in the postseason. And then in the other year, they didn't even get to play them in the postseason because they lost in the divisional round to the Bengals. So I'm going to say no. I still think even if the Bills win this game, the Chiefs are still the favorite to go to the Super Bowl. But do you think the winner of this game should be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC?
No, I'm with you. I think the Bills are better this year running football. I could probably do it in the month of January this year, but until somebody actually knocks off Kansas City, it's hard to bet against them. And I can't really trust the Ravens defense yet. I know we'll get to Pittsburgh here in a minute. Maybe they could be the one, but I kind of got to see their offense a little bit more and be a test this week, Baltimore. So yeah, I still think Kansas City's the one to beat in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I mean, the Bills, they've been close a lot of times. They played well against them in the regular season. Would I be surprised? No. If they get to the postseason, I really can't trust them. I really can't trust them to beat the Chiefs. And really, there's one team that you would trust to beat Kansas City in a big spot. But the problem with that team is they're so poorly, they're not well coached, and their defense is so bad that they're probably not even going to get there. That's the Bengals, yeah. Because I'm telling you, it's just so hard in the AFC to really take anyone over the Chiefs. You can't take the Bills have success in the regular season. It's tough to take the Bills. The Ravens, they can't beat them in the postseason or the regular season. And then the Texans, we really haven't seen. We'll see that matchup later in the year, but we really haven't seen CJ Stroud, and the Texans are struggling right now. So and even the Steelers, Mike Tom. I mean, the Chiefs have owned Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. So there really isn't that team that I really think that could beat them in the AFC. The only team that can is fighting for their playoff lives right now.
Yeah, and again, very potent. And they're already 2.5 out of a wild card spot at the moment. And yeah, the Bengals are, their schedule starts to get a little bit easier coming up. But yeah, so for the Chiefs, it's like, yeah, they really haven't played great football. They've just been finding ways to win games. Like last week, just getting 9 guys could have blocked that field goal attempt. Yeah, that was just an absolute jailbreak. And they find a way to know another close game. So look, if they continue to not be able to kind of blow anybody out, maybe somebody kind of hangs around against them and kind of gets confidence that they can win that game. The only tough part is you're probably gonna have to do that Arrowhead, and that's one of the toughest environments to go into and win. So that's the only kind of problem. They can't just blow somebody out, but if they're at home, it's still just so difficult to go to Arrowhead and beat them.
It definitely is. Definitely is. It only happened once in the postseason. That was Joe Burrow in 2021. But we gotta move on to another big AFC matchup this week, and that is between the Ravens and Steelers. People forget the Steelers are in first place. They got a half-game lead over the Ravens in first place. They're 7-2. Ravens are 7-3. But I think this is going to be a really good game. I think the Steelers defense will contain Derrick Henry, but I do think Lamar Jackson has a big day. I do think Lamar Jackson has a big day on their secondary. I think he has a really good game passing the football and running the ball. And I do think Russell Wilson plays pretty well, but I do think he makes a couple mistakes against the Ravens defense. I think it comes right down to the end. Either Lamar has the ball in his hand and leads the game-winning drive, or the Ravens defense makes a play against Russell Wilson. I think it comes right down to the end. But I'm going to go with the more talented team here. I know the Steelers have the better record, but I'm going to go with the more talented team and the team with the better quarterback. I'm going to go with the Ravens here. I got the Ravens over the Steelers 27-20. But Justin, can Russell Wilson continue to stay hot and keep the Steelers in first place?
I do. I get Steelers this week 27-23. Russell Wilson's done a really nice job at the quarterback spot, coming in for Fields and has really elevated that offense a little bit. And Pickens guy going, Mike Williams had a touchdown last week, and they're able to run the football too now. So better. So I think against Baltimore, maybe I think Pittsburgh's going to have a little bit tougher time running football this week against Baltimore's front that's been the best at stopping the run this year. But I do think Pittsburgh and Russell Wilson are going to have success through the air, and I do think they're going to make some plays. And I trust Pittsburgh's defense too late in the game to make a stop. I don't still trust this Ravens defense to make a stop. So I do think Pittsburgh gets this win at home.
You made a good point. Yeah, if the Steelers have a lead late, they did it last week against the Commanders. If they have a lead late, yeah, you definitely trust that defense. Yeah, this Ravens defense, I'll give it to you. They've had a lot of issues making stops late in the game. I mean, they have two inferior teams scored late to beat them, the Raiders and the Browns. And then last week, the Bengals did score, but they ended up going for two. And I mean, the Ravens got a little bit lucky with the officiating as well. But still, yeah, you made a good point with the Ravens defense. I just feel like to me, I can't see the Steeler team. I like the Steeler team, but I can't see them being 8-2. I can't see them being a game and a half over up on the Ravens. That's why I have the Ravens winning this one close. But the Steelers do have a really good chance to win this game.
Yeah, they do, and yeah, the Steeler team going in kind of felt like a 9-8 win team with the schedule, and Mike Tomlin's done a really nice job. So far this year, and has made like Justin Fields wasn't playing horrible, but again he made the right switch to go to Russell Wilson instead of Justin Fields, and it's panned out. And this Pittsburgh team's been playing really well. And yeah, I don't think anybody saw them to be 7-2 in this moment if they could go 8-2. But yeah, because this Ravens team they've had their collapses. Yeah, they that Bengals when they did get lucky against the Browns lost. They somehow gave up 26 to the Raiders, blew a 10-point lead. So. Yeah, it's going in the year. I don't think anybody thought the Steelers would be 8-2, but the way they're playing football right now, the way the defense is playing, I just don't trust Baltimore. Late in the game, fourth quarter to make a stop, and the way Russell Wilson this offense is playing, I think the Steelers could go down the field and get a score.
And this leads me to my next point, and the question I got about the Steelers and Russell Wilson: can the Steelers? Are the Steelers Super Bowl contenders with Russell Wilson as their quarterback? Are they Super Bowl contenders with Russell Wilson as their quarterback? And last week proved to me, I think they are. I think the Steelers are Super Bowl contenders with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. And he's definitely been you said it, he's definitely been an upgrade over Justin Fields. Because you look at the Jet game, scored 37 points. Last game, led them from 2 scores down to win against the Commanders in the second half. Then the week before, played pretty well against the Giants. I think they are. I think they're there. I think they're there with the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Texans, and I think they're there with those 4 teams. I think they are. And you could argue right now they might be a little bit better than the Texans. the way they're playing. So I'm going to say yes. They have a coach, and I know the quarterback might not be as good as he has been in Seattle, but this is his best year since his last year in Seattle, and he didn't have that terrible of a year last year with the Broncos. So they had a coach and a quarterback that have done it before. I'm going to say yes. I think they are Super Bowl contenders with Wilson as their QB, and Tomlin made the right move because you would not be saying the same with Justin Fields.
Yeah, absolutely. You wouldn't, and I do think the Steelers team's a contender because I think defensively too that they could, that defense is going to be a tough out for anybody in the month of January. And Mike Tomlin's has won a Super Bowl. He's had success, in the postseason, and so yeah, I right now, I have him, right behind the Bills because I don't like the way the Texans are playing right now, and I know they get Collins back, but it's a team that's not playing really well right now. So yeah, I think that's the way the Steelers offense is playing. Going up to Pittsburgh, if they get a home game, it's going to be a tough out for anybody. So I like the way Wilson's playing, and I think too, kind of coming into Pittsburgh, I think probably was a good thing too for him because none of this kind of nonsense with him that Wilson could kind of have. It seems like, and I think it's been kind of huge plus because he's looked really really good and it's really helped this offense out that has really been struggling. You even go back to the last couple of years under Big Ben, like their offense, kind of struggled to they really lean on their defense a lot. So it's been a couple of years here for the Pittsburgh, and again, Russell Wilson's not going to be a long-term answer, but they figured it out.
They did. They figured it out for the short term. They figured out they got a guy. This is the best quarter. Yeah, this is the best QB they've had since Big Ben. And yes, Pittsburgh's been good for him because he has to listen to Mike Tomlin. He can't have his own offense like he did with Nathaniel Hackett. Him and Sean Payton just couldn't get on the same page. Denver, they just catered to him completely. In Pittsburgh, it was pretty much if you don't play well, your career is over. And he's played really well this year.
Yeah, he has. And again, Pittsburgh's only paying him $1 million. Why Denver pays the other 40 that he's owed. So yeah, for Pittsburgh, for Pittsburgh, it was a no lose situation. Like he either comes in and he doesn't play well, you just kind of cut him. If he plays well, this is kind of what you get. And yeah, you get a Russell Wilson that could help your team get to Super Bowl.
Absolutely. So we got the Battle of Texas on Monday Night Football. Two teams that are really struggling. The Texans, they've lost 3 out of 4. The Cowboys, we've known their struggles. They've lost 4 in a row, and they've lost their starting quarterback for the season. In this game, I think the Cowboys defense keeps them in. Just like kind of similar to the Eagle game, they keep them in it early, but eventually I think the Texans pull away. I think Joe Mixon has a big game. I think C.J. Stroud has a pretty good game too. I think the Texans, they're looking to have Nico Collins and Will Anderson back. I think they both come back and have good games as well. I think Cooper Rush turns the ball over once or twice. I think this game stays close early, but I think the Texans pull away in the second half. I'm going Houston here. I got Houston 27-13 over the Cowboys. But Justin, can Cooper Rush lead an upset and hand the Texans their third straight loss?
Yeah, no, I got the Texans here as well, 20-13. This is an Eagles. I mean, this is a Cowboys team right now that just, they're really having a tough time now without Dak, which might not end up being a bad thing because now that you could probably get a top 5 pick, which is something that they truly need. So it could work out in the end. But this is a team that had the ball at the 3-yard line last week or 6-yard line. They started. They could not. They had to settle for a field goal in that game. So
yeah.
I don't know how this offense kind of gets much going. I know the Texans kind of been struggling, but if Houston struggles and Stroud doesn't play well, I'm like, you really have to be concerned because this should be a get right week for Houston, and they should kind of put it on Dallas because I don't know how Dallas scores more than like 13, 14 points in this game.
No. I don't think, especially if Will Anderson's back. Will Anderson's back with that pass defense with him, Danielle Hunter, Derek Stingley, and Lassiter. It's very, very, very hard for Dallas to score, especially if Will Anderson's back. It's going to be really, really hard for Dallas to score. Yeah, this should be a get right week for this team. They haven't been playing well, but this should be a game. It should be a get right game because the Cowboys are an absolute mess right now. They're an absolute mess. Micah Parsons won't shut his mouth. Their defense isn't playing well. It didn't improve that much with Parsons on the field. Their offense is pathetic. They can't run the football. Let me tell you, for how pathetic the Giants are, I think the one game the rest of the year they have the best chance of winning is the game on Thanksgiving against Dallas. That just shows you how big of a mess the Dallas Cowboys are. They're an absolute disaster right now. The GM and owner is delusional. He still thinks they're close which they're not. Even my GM thinks they're close too. We'll talk about that next week. That's another story for that's a story for next week with the Giants. But yeah, this is just a flat out disaster with the Cowboys. The entire offseason has been a mess. They said they were going all in. Then they said they can't afford Derrick Henry. Again, yes, they can go get a top 5 pick. They could even go get Bill Belichick. But you know what? That's not going to change anything unless they get a new GM. I get it. Jerry Jones is good at drafting guys, but outside of that, negotiating contracts is a disaster. Going out and signing free agents, he refuses to do that. The only time going out and making trades, he's only done it once in the last 15 years. It was Amari Cooper, and it worked for him. But still, the whole Cowboys system is flawed. Their ceiling is the divisional round of the playoffs. Dak Prescott will never win a championship in this organization. So yeah, the Cowboys are just an absolute mess. And this is an opportunity for the Texans to get right and get back to what they were in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this Cowboy team is an absolute mess right now. There was all that talk about the sun glare in the dome, and they're deflecting on that now. So it's a mess. And yeah, and when I kind of mentioned that the best thing for him or one of the best things for him is going to be the top 5, because this team just needs an infusion of talent. And Jerry's on a horrible drafter, so maybe they have a good draft. They get some talent. They're back in the playoffs soon. But yeah, I agree. Yep. They're not going to be a contender, under Jerry until the new GM here. And again, the other thing is too, you're playing for a coach that that is going to get fired.
Oh, he's getting fired. So. Parsons called him out. Parsons just called him out. Flat out called him out this week. You know the coach is getting fired. I mean, Parsons just and listen, he's the scapegoat. He's the scapegoat. I'm not saying he's a great coach by any means, Mike McCarthy, but he won a Super Bowl. He's the scapegoat for all the problems there. The real problem is going to exist there. The real problem is going to still be there. It's Jerry Jones and his son. Even if Bill Belichick shows up, they're not going to let Bill Belichick do what he wants to do. They're going to want to have their hand in it. Even if the greatest coach of all time is there, they're going to have their hand. They're going to have their hand in it. And I don't care if they take Travis Hunter number 5 overall. They're either going to have their hand. They're either going to not let Belichick do what he wants to do if he goes there, or they're going to hire a head coach who's a puppet. So there's to me with the Cowboys, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and it's going to get even worse because now the Commanders are legit. We said it earlier when we talked about the Eagles and the Commanders. They're legit now. So that's another because for the last decade, it's pretty much been them and the Eagles alternating winning the division. Maybe the Commanders have won it. They won it, and you sprinkle in the Commanders, once every 5 years. But it's been them and the Eagles winning the division. Now you're going to have a team in the Commanders that's going to be an 8-9, at least an 8 to 9 win team every year with Jane Daniels as their quarterback and having a new GM and a new head coach. So the Commanders are going to be there. So it's not going to be as easy for the Cowboys to be in it, to be in the division race. So yeah, there's just no light at the end of the tunnel for the Dallas Cowboys. There's no light at the end of the tunnel for Dak Prescott. Yes, they might make the playoffs once or twice in the next couple of years. Yes, maybe they win a division, but they ain't. I'll tell you one thing: they ain't winning a Super Bowl. They're not winning a Super Bowl unless Jerry Jones steps down, and that's been said so many times in the last decade, in the last 20 years. It's just been said. It's been said time in. People have been saying it so many times. So yeah, they will not win a Super Bowl unless Jerry Jones steps down.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's not going to happen anytime soon because of his ego. And, he doesn't, I know he said he blamed himself a couple of weeks ago, but he's not going to step down. And yeah, then it's going to be the son, and the son's not much better than he is. So
yep.
It's not changing anytime soon in Dallas. And yeah, it's unfortunate for that fan base, and it's just going to be a revolving door. And yeah, it's interesting, who would come in and be the next coach because it's a puppet,
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley was a hot name for Dallas, a couple years ago? Did he go get Lincoln?
Oh, he might just get him. He might just get him just to control him. He might just get. Yeah. Why not? Who's going to want the job? Who's going to want the job? Yeah. They might just get Lincoln Riley. Who's going to want the job?
Yeah, that would be funny because Lincoln's looking for an out now, and Dallas, he was a hot name a couple years ago. But yeah, because with his talent, and you're going to get blamed for everything, and because and again, you got Dak, who's again a top 8 to 12 quarterback, but it just there's just it's a team put around him not great, and that's kind of the big problem.
Yeah, it'll never be great because they won't go out in free agency, they won't go out and make any trades. They just want to win on their terms, and the problem is when you do that in the NFL, you'll never win, and that's why Dallas is never going to win until there are changes made there.
Yeah, I completely agree in that. You mentioned it. It's been said a million times. It's been said forever, and again, it's never going to get through to Jerry. It's never going to get through to that family, and it's going to be the same thing for Dallas. And yeah, it's probably be quite a while till this team, till they could somehow like get like a Patrick Mahomes type quarterback that goes through there. They'll probably not win the Super Bowl till then.
Yeah, it's the only thing that saves them. The only thing that saves them is an elite quarterback because a top quarterback could overcome organizational deficiencies. Like you look at Joe Burrow with the Bengals. He got the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Kind of a similar ran franchise than the Cowboys, and where the owner's the GM. He got them to a Super Bowl. The only way Dallas gets anywhere with Jerry Jones is they have to have a tier 1 quarterback. If they don't have a tier 1 quarterback, they're going nowhere. They're not going to get to a Super Bowl because if you don't have a tier 1 quarterback, you need things in your organization. You need to have other things to help you get there. So, but yeah, they need a tier 1 quarterback until they have that. And Dak's good, but he's not that. The Dak Jerry combination is similar to the Dak Romo combination. It has a ceiling, and the divisional round is the ceiling, and it will be the ceiling until they change GMs because Dak Prescott, as good as he is, he's not good enough to overcome organizational deficiencies.
No, he's not. And yeah, that's been the problem. Dak's done a nice job. Again, that Mississippi State team that he got, when they were number 1 in mid-November. I don't know how many other guys are in the NFL from that Mississippi State team. I'd have to go back and look, but that wasn't a great roster. And, Mississippi State's a tough job. And, he got them, he got them 10-0, 9-0. And so, yeah, like I think Dak's talented, and yeah, it just with Jerry there running the show, it's not going to change. And yeah, McCarthy, they're going to bring another puppet who they're going to try to control. And yeah, maybe they find a way to win 9-10 games every couple of years, and they get to the divisional round, but they'll probably get knocked out, and just like they usually do. They're just again, they're not a huge threat anymore. You don't really they're not that team that you're kind of scared of anymore. And by Jerry's there, it's not going to happen.
Nope, it will not. It will not. So we'll move on to a game that has been a Super Bowl twice with the Rams and the Patriots. The Patriots had their way with the Rams in the Super Bowl twice, but it's going to be, even though they took a step forward last week. You could say they played the Bears, and the Bears are a disaster right now. They played the Bears at the right time. The Patriots did do some things really well. Defense played really well. They ran the football, kind of similar to their win against Cincinnati. Played good defense, ran the football. So since Gerard Mayo has called them out, they're 2-1. So they have responded to Gerard Mayo calling them out. And but I do think this week it's going to be a tough game. I think the running game, it's just been so inconsistent. I can't really trust it. I think Drake May will play well, but he'll have that one bad turnover. And I think the biggest issue, though, is they're going to have issues with the Rams' run game. I think that Hiron Williams is going to have a good game on the ground. I think Matthew Stafford's going to play well. Matthew Stafford's going to make less mistakes than Drake May. I think May throws a pick or two, and that's the difference in this game. I think it's close and competitive. I think it is. I think the Patriots fight here. I think it's a really close competitive game. But I'm going to go with the Rams here. I got to go with the more talented team here. Even though I was impressed by the Patriots last week, I'm going to go with the more talented team. I got the Rams 23-17 over the Patriots. But Justin, can Drake May lead the Pats to their second straight win?
No, I'm with you. I got to like 21-16. I think spot wise, it's great for New England. But I'm with you. I think the Rams running game is going to have some success in this one. And, all three of the Patriots wins, like you can kind of say more about the opponent more than them.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. The Bengals, they always start the season poorly with Zach Taylor. Mm-hmm. The Jets. That was because of the Jets. And then the Bears, I got to say it, the Bears were in a disaster. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to take anything away from the Patriots' performance. I don't want to take anything away from it. And we'll get to the Bears next. The Bears were pathetic on Sunday. They were absolutely horrendous. But yeah, you could say yes. It's been about the opponent, but you can't. You got to give credit. The Patriots got to play who's out there, and they benefit, and they did, and they played well last week.
Yeah, they did. They took care of business against a team that's having their issues, and they took advantage of it. So yeah, good for them. And it was a nice win. Again, they had 16 sacks going into that game. They had 9 on Sunday,
and a lot of those were on Caleb Williams too. A lot of those were on Caleb Williams just holding onto the ball.
No, they definitely. And, the Patriots' strength is their defensive line. But, yeah, I think I know the Rams have not played great the last couple of weeks, but I do think this is a game where the Rams offense kind of figures it out. They're getting a little bit healthier by the week. So, yeah, I think May plays decent again. There's hope. You're not getting no more pick anymore. But, hey, You're probably still gonna be top 5, top 10. You'll get somebody. You just need talent. So I do think the Rams get this one 21-16, but just hoping for another. May just you hope just improves again. And he does have to protect himself better. He's getting hit way too much. He's got to do a little bit better job of that. But other than that, he's definitely anything you could have asked for at the quarterback spot so far.
Yeah, no. He's looked like he's belonged. Drake May has looked like he's belonged. Now, I'm not saying he's played like Jaden Daniels has, but he's looked like he's belonged. Texan game, even though the defense was terrible, he played well. Jaguar game, even though the defense was terrible, he played decent. Jet game, he got hurt. Tennessee game, kind of up and down, but he made that phenomenal play at the end. And then last week, I thought he played well. I know he had that pick, but I thought he played well. Now, he's going to have to do more than he did last week to win this game. This Rams team is going to put up. They're going to put up, I think, at least, they're going to put up over 20 points on the Patriots. So the Patriots, I think, got to score at least 24 points. I think the Patriots got to score 24 points to win this game. So, and I think it's possible. The Rams defense is not great. It's possible, but Drake May has got to play better for the Patriots to win. He's got to play better. I think that he's got to play better than he did last week because he can't get away with the fact that because the Rams offense is not terrible. They had a tough week last week, but they're not terrible like the Bears offense. So he's got to play better than he did last week for the Patriots to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, he's made some mistakes, and I'm glad he's kind of playing through it and he's kind of learning. Like I want him to kind of make mistakes, is in a year where you're obviously not going anywhere. Like this is kind of the year where, hey, you throw a pick or two, you kind of learn. Yeah,
it's a bridge here. It's a rebuilding season where, yeah, if you win, I expected the Patriots to win 3 games. If they get 4 or 5 wins, it doesn't matter. But if you're say they go out and spend money, get T. Higgins, get players, improve this team in the offseason, which they should, and they're at the same point this year, and Drake May is not playing well, that's a major issue. It's a major issue with the GM, major issue with the quarterback, and a major issue with the head coach. But yeah, this is the year to make mistakes. It's the year to make mistakes. It's a rebuilding year.
Yeah, absolutely. And and he's made some exciting plays, and you hope that others around the league take notice. Like you mentioned, a T. Higgins, where hey, maybe he does want to come play for the Drake May. Maybe he sees the potential and wants to be a number 1 here. So yeah, that's the hope. And he's done it. Drake May's done a good job, and he's really put some excitement into this, back into the franchise because the last couple of years, obviously with Mac, just hadn't gone well. So, and the other thing too, the last thing I'll say with May is I think it was last Wednesday or Thursday, he called out the offense too. Like he's already
shows leadership,
leader, which
shows leadership. I think he showed more leadership than Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll end up being a better quarterback than Caleb Williams, but he showed more leadership than Caleb Williams.
No, he has so far, and that's kind of what you want. I don't think Mac really ever did that. Mac was kind of, so Mac wasn't really like that. So yeah, you love to see it from May, and it shows. And again, you could only really like what you've seen so far from Drake May. So again, it's exciting. It's kind of back to wanting to watch the Patriots the last couple of years, just how bad the offense is. It's been dreadful. So it's been exciting now to kind of get the look forward to watch Drake May play every Sunday. So the future seems a little bit brighter. Still out coach, staff, GM, but at least the quarterback seems like it's there. That's the most important thing in the NFL.
Yeah, and that gives you hope. You look at your team is in a better spot than my team. You're in a better spot than my team because at least you have the quarterback. At least you have that box checked. You have the quarterback box checked off. And yes, the coach and GM still a major question mark, but at least you have that box checked off. My team, you look at the Giants, the quarterback, they don't have it. They need a new one. The coach, major question mark right now, and it's trending. It's trending to the other way more than it's trending the negative way more than the positive way. And the GM is still a major question mark too. They go 2-15. Those guys can all lose their jobs. You look at the Patriots. They got a quarterback and they have a coach. All right, he's made some mistakes this year, but they're going to give him a second year to learn from it and grow from it. And then you got a GM. Yes, he made some mistakes this offseason, but he's going to have a major opportunity with all the cap space they're going to have.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he's got to go out and spend, and there's going to be a lot of pressure now on the Crafts and Elliott Wolf to go spend and go improve the team now and go put the guys around him. Because again, we've talked to them many times. They didn't really do that this year with Drake May. That offensive line's been a mess. They don't have the weapons. Hunter Henry's been nice. Stevenson had his best game last week, but like he hasn't really been that impressive this year. So yeah, there's a lot of money. We've kind of we saw Mac Jones show flashes in rookie year and wasn't able to take advantage. Now, part of that was because of the people they brought in, and they didn't really bring in anybody to help him out with that. But this is kind of where Patriots got to do what they have to do now. They got $130 million about to spend. Use it and go make this team better, because outside of the Bills right now, second place in the division's open. The Jets are a major rebuild, and I'm not. I know the Dolphins have talent, but I don't really like Mike McDaniel. And how much, unfortunately, how two with the concussion history, like how much longer could maybe possibly he's can't be around much longer too. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, we'll see what happens with the Dolphins. The Jets are a disaster. So yeah, you have a big opportunity. This is a huge offseason for the Patriots and for Elliott. Well, Elliott Wolf cannot make the same mistake Bill Belichick made, giving him pretty much not improving the team around Mac Jones, and then Belichick hiring a defensive Patricia to be the offensive coordinator. But yeah, they can't make the same mistakes Bill Belichick made. So it's going to be a very, very critical offseason for the Patriots. But going from one rookie quarterback to another rookie quarterback, and this team is an absolute mess right now. That's the Chicago Bears. This week they fired their offensive coordinator, and now their schedule is brutal. They have a gauntlet schedule, and they have a gauntlet coming up, and that starts with the Packers. That starts with the Packers and Jordan Love coming in. Now, I think with Thomas Brown taking over, I think the offense, will have a little bit of a spark. They'll move the ball early in the first half. But I think in the second half, the same issues are going to exist. Williams is going to take sacks. Jordan Love's going to play well. Josh Jacobs is going to close the game out, running the football well. I think it's close early on because it's a rivalry game, and the Bears have a little more energy because they got Shane Waldron out of the building. But I think eventually in the second half, the Packers will pull away here, and I'm going to go with the Packers here. I'm going with the Packers to go to 7-3. I got the Packers here 27-16 over the Bears. But Justin, can the OC change spark the Bears and lead them to an upset win at home against Green Bay?
No, I got the Packers here as well, 24-13. The Bears would be great if the NFL was a 7-on-7 league. They have the weapons. They just don't have the line. And
no,
it's like
but also the offensive coaching is absolutely pathetic. Eberflus knows nothing about offensive football, and he can't lead men at all. If you watch him in Hard Knocks, he never got on his team one time. He can't lead men. I'm telling you, they're 4-8 after the Detroit game, and they get embarrassed. He needs to go as well. He's lucky he didn't get fired after the Patriot game. They put it on Waldron, but he is next. And a lot of people think, he might stick around the entire year. No, this thing gets bad. They lose to the Packers, the Vikings, and the Lions, three games, and that would be a 6-game losing streak after the Hail Mary, where one of his players was celebrating before the game was even over. I think he doesn't make it past Thanksgiving. If they're 4-8 and they get embarrassed on in a standalone game, in a national game, they get embarrassed, he's gone as well.
Yeah, he should be, and it's surprising that he hasn't yet. That they've kind of stuck with him, and at this point, especially after that Washington game, and then the way they responded against Arizona, you kind of thought that would be it. It hasn't. Like even Monday, after Waldron got fired, it's probably time because the team has totally quit on the season, and it's not good. Like again, you play in Chicago, and they're another team that's just not tough up front, and you're playing Chicago, in that division where all those other three teams are very physical football teams. So it's a mess, and I'm surprised even Fluke has not got fired because it's been bad, and the team's totally quit. Like Caleb, he's not getting any better because again, and I'm not going to, obviously this isn't his entire career, but out of the four kind of quarterbacks this year, he's fourth right now.
That's crazy. And he was the consensus last year, the consensus number one overall pick. Now, Daniels made a run at the end, but he was the consensus number one overall pick. And you made a good point. He's fourth. Let's be honest. He's fourth. Bo Nix has outplayed him. Drake May has outplayed him, even though Drake May's record's not that good. He's outplayed him. And now, and obviously Jaden Daniels has been phenomenal. Yeah, he's been 4th out of 4, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is because again, you go through it. Bo Nix has gotten better this year. We just talked about Drake May. He's gotten better. Jaden Daniels has gotten better. Caleb Williams not getting any better. And it's kind of like last year USC's holding the ball too long. He's waiting for something to happen. I don't think he's seeing the field. Maybe it's just the game's still moving a little bit too fast for him. Like it's just, and again, we talk about the offense and the offensive coaching staff. They have the weapons, but I think it's I think he's only completing like 20% of his passes that go longer, like 10 yards this year. Like it's not good. Like, yeah, he's got the weapons there, but he does not have the offensive coaching staff, and he does not have the offensive line. So it's a huge offseason for Chicago. This is a huge, we'll definitely talk about when we get there, but it's a huge hire on who they bring in and who they bring up for offensive staff because Caleb Williams needs a lot of work and he's not improving right now.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yes, they need to make a coaching change in Chicago. I wouldn't be surprised if this team finishes 5-12 with the schedule they have, and it's pretty obvious that Matt Eberflus will be gone at the end of the season. But going from another young quarterback, and now we're going to go to another young quarterback, and that's Anthony Richardson and the Colts, and they will play the Jets. They go to New York to play the Jets, where he is back starting this week. Weird things happening in Indy, but for this game, I think he struggles against the. I know the Jet defense doesn't play well, but I think he struggles here. I think that Jonathan Taylor is a good game, but I think Richardson turns the ball over a couple times. Rodgers, he's not the same guy, but I think he makes less mistakes. And in a game of two teams that are definitely going in the wrong direction, even though the Jets were horrible last week, I'm gonna go with the Jets here. I got the Jets 21-16 over the Colts. But Justin, can putting Richardson back in the lineup spark the Colts to a win in New York?
I think they do win this one, 24-21. Yeah, two teams just going in the opposite directions, but this Jet team can't stop the run. And now, see, with Flacco when there's a pocket pass, you don't have to worry about the zone options and all that. Now with Anthony Richardson, you do. So that kind of gives you another element. And now if I'm the Colts, I think I just run the ball 30, 35 times this one and just control the clock. And again, the Jet team could have got the field last week. I know Arizona's playing better, but Kyle Murray was 22 for 24 last week against this Jet team. Like, this is a team that their defense is getting worse by the week. We both agreed Saul was not a great coach.
But now he's much better than the guy they have.
Yeah.
He's much better than Ulbrich.
Ready.
Ulbrich was definitely not ready.
Yeah, he's not ready. He's trying to be the D coordinator and the head coach now. So, this Jet team's a mess. And I think if they go down early, too, you're going to get the Boo Birds. And I just think this Jet team's quit. And I think you see more fight in the Colts. And I think John Tittel has a pretty good game. I am all out kind of on the Jets. And I didn't think they were a playoff team, but think that they will be 3-7. The funny thing is they're 3-7. The Pats are 3-7. It's supposed to be the worst Patriot team in the last 25 years. It's supposed to be the best Jet team in 25 years.
And they have the same record, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, the poor Jet fan. Poor Jets.
I know. The Jets are a disaster. But moving on, talking about the Colts here and the Richardson situation, this is why a couple weeks ago I said this was a bad move because they want Richardson. You took him number 3 overall. He should have been your quarterback for better or worse. Now, who knows what's going to happen here? This is one of the biggest mysteries in the league. It might work out. It might work out, and he might play well, and the benching might help him, but it also could destroy him. It could destroy him, and this team could completely fall apart. That's why I didn't think it was the right move for Shane Steichen to take out Anthony Richardson and go. I know he tapped out of the game and everything. I know that happened, but I think that was the wrong move to do that because now you're kind of going back and forth between development and winning. 2 weeks ago it was all about winning games. Now it's about development. Pick a lane and stay in it. I think Steichen is just all over the place right now. I mean, this might end up working out for him. End up working out for him in the long run. But I feel like this year Steichen has been all over the place in terms of developing Anthony Richardson and winning football games. He's just been all over the place.
Yeah, I agree. And this might be the worst coaching crop we've seen in the NFL. Like it's bad. There's a lot of bad coaches right now.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see it. It's affecting the play. Like there's there's 11, 12 just awful football teams right now. And and I thought, the move to Flacco would be good. Now, I think the Colts were thinking that they were going to get the Joe Flacco, the Cleveland Browns, but this has kind of been Flacco throughout his career. He's had a lot of good moments. He's had a lot of bad moments. Like he's, can be very inconsistent, but we'll see with Anthony Richardson, the tapping out of the game doesn't, not great. And he'll make some exciting plays. I just, how much has he grown in 2 weeks? Probably not a ton, but I think this week I think he'll play decent, and I think you're going to see him run the football just against the Jets. That'd be my game plan. Just zone read the heck out of the Jets.
That'd be a great game plan.
He just can't stop a run.
That'd be a great game plan. The zone read would be a great game plan. Yeah, just for this game, it's just brutal to pick anyone because you got the Colts and you know what you're getting out of Richardson. The Jets, you have no idea what Ulbricht's going to put on the field. So it's just a brutal game to pick. I'm just taking the Jets because I just think Rodgers will be the quarterback that makes less mistakes and plays better. That's why I'll take the Jets. But just a very hard game to pick with two teams that are just going in just completely opposite directions. But you talked about coaching issues in the NFL. Now, I think one of the better coaching jobs of the year has been what Kevin O'Connell has done with Sam Darnold. I think he's done a great job with Sam Darnold. I think he's a really good. He's one of the best. I think he's one of the better young coaches in football. I think he is. He's done a really good job with this Vikings team. But the issue is, I think he squeezed everything he can out of Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold last week was absolutely terrible against Jacksonville. Terrible in that game. He was awful. He turned the ball over 3 times in Jags territory, twice in the red zone. He's played 2 of his worst games. The last 2 weeks. He's been getting worse as the season has gone on. And that's why I think the Vikings get upset here. I think the Vikings get upset here directly because of how bad Sam Darnold has been these last couple of weeks. I think Sam Darnold has a bad week. And I think Tennessee's defense forced a couple turnovers, and I don't think Will Levis plays that well, but I think he makes less mistakes than Sam Darnold, and I'm going with the upset here. I'm going to go with the Titans to beat the Vikings 19-17. But Justin, can the Vikings defense? I'm not saying Sam Darnold. Can the Vikings defense get them to 8-2?
Yeah, I got the Vikings 17-9 in this one. I see your point because Will Levis played pretty well last week against the Chargers defense that's well improved this year.
And he got sacked 7 times, even though I don't like Will Levis either. I don't think Will Levis is a franchise guy either.
No, he's not. He didn't throw an interception, which is the only important thing. We've seen a lot of that this year. But yeah, Darnold's been awful, and they were really lucky Mac Jones was just as bad as Sam Darnold was last week. I just think in this one, I think Flores is going to tee off on Will Levis. I think he gets sacked again like 7-8 times, and yeah, Darnold does not play great in this one again. But I do think that the Titans make a mistake, and the Titans special teams is not great either. So I think the Vikings can make a play there, set up their offense in a short field, and do think Titans defense keeps them in it. But I think the Vikings is just I think they make it a really tough day for the Titans, which they're starting to look a little bit better on offense, a little bit. But I think this week it's going to be a struggle to get anything going.
We got the Jaguars heading to Detroit to face the Lions. This should be no game. I think this is total domination from the Lions. Trevor Lawrence is out this week. I think the Lions dominate. I got them winning at 34-10. And Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah, I got 31-10. And you wonder, Jacksonville's about to go in the bye. Do they quit on Doug Peterson? And
I think this could be it for Doug Peterson. I think this could be it. I think this could be it for Doug Peterson, seeing the way this Jaguars team is playing. I wouldn't be surprised if he's fired after this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, especially the Lions after last week. I know they won, but they was not pretty. So I expect them to come out pretty PO'd this week and want to put a big number up.
Oh, yeah. And then last week showed you why the Lions are a great team. Goff can throw 5 picks and they still win. Shows you why they're clearly the best team in the NFC.
No, it definitely does. And yeah, Goff was awful and dead. To win the way they did last week is impressive. So yeah, good for Lions to get a win like that. And they're definitely the front runner in the NFC.
They definitely are. All right, we got 2 teams that are going nowhere who are playing in New Orleans on Sunday. We got the 2-7 Browns against the 3-7 Saints. And I'm just going to take the team who I think runs the football better, and that's the Saints. I think the team that has the better quarterback, and it's weird. It's tough to say Derek Carr is better than Jameis Winston. I don't think either quarterback's that good. But the Saints played well for Darren Rizzi last week. I think they do the same this week. Run the ball with Kamara. Carr doesn't turn the ball over. They force a couple turnovers from Jameis. I'm going Saints here. I'm going Saints 20-13. Justin, who you got?
Yeah, I got the Browns this one 23-20, the Jameis Winston revenge game. I think the Saints got pretty lucky last week to get that win. And I do think Cleveland generates some pressure on Derek Carr, and I think he'll make a mistake or two. And I'll take Jameis and the Cleveland Browns off of bye here to get the win.
All righty, the Raiders travel to Miami to face the Dolphins. I think this is a Dolphin team that dominates this week. Look at this Dolphin schedule. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a run and are in this race till the end. I know they're 3-6, but they got the Raiders this week, got the Patriots, still got the Jets twice. I think this Dolphin team can make a run and make things interesting for them late in the season. They got Tua back. I think Tua has a big week. I think Tyreek has a big week. I think they run the football, and I think their defense forces Minshew to turn the ball over a couple times. I got the Dolphins here 31-13. But Justin, can Antonio Pierce out of the bye lead the Raiders to an upset win?
I think they keep it close. They got the Dolphins 18-13. Again with the Rams, it's a good spot here for the Raiders. They come off the bye here. I do think the Raiders have not been able to run the football. I think they have a little bit success doing that. Yeah, Gardner Minshew probably makes a mistake or two. But I do think the Raiders defense does keep this thing close for a while. I wasn't that impressed with the Dolphins' offense last week. Maybe this definitely could be a get right week. I don't know. Not totally convinced of it yet, but um, I do think the Raiders off a bye here. Think they play hard for Pearson, keep it close.
All right, you got an NFC West matchup in Seattle, and it has been one-sided over the last couple of years, especially since Russell Wilson has left. Niners have won 7 straight games against the Seahawks, and I think they make it 8. They make it 8. They're healthy. They got a huge win last week over the Buccaneers to get over 500. I think Brock Purdy is a big game. I think CMC is a big game. DK Metcalf might not play again for the Seahawks, so I think Geno Smith turns the ball over a couple times. I got the Niners by 2 scores here. I got the Niners 30-17. But Justin, can the Seahawks get revenge on what happened in Week 6 and snap their 7-game losing streak against the Niners?
No, I get the Niners as well, 20-20. Yeah, the Niners offense looked better last week with Christian McCaffrey back in there. I think Purdy plays well in this one, and you never know what you're going to get out of Geno Smith. He's very up and down. So I do think the Niners defense plays well enough in this one, and San Francisco continues that winning streak against Seattle.
All righty, we got the Falcons. It's a pretty good game. Falcons traveling out to Denver to face the Broncos. And I'm going to go with the home team here. I'm going to get the home team to bounce back this week. I think this defense forces a turnover or two from Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins in the Falcon offense, it's been great at times, but it's been inconsistent. As you saw last week, you saw it in the Seattle game, it's been inconsistent. I think the Broncos run the football well. I think Bo Nix doesn't make mistakes. I think it comes right down to the end. I think Nix leads the game-winning drive, and the Broncos win this week. I got the Broncos here 23-20. But, Justin, can the Falcons bounce back this week and continue to stay on top in the NFC South?
No, I got the Broncos here as well, 20-16. Atlanta's they're very inconsistent. You don't know what they're going to be. And I think Nix, you mentioned, I think Bo Nix plays pretty well because Atlanta's pass rush is non-existent.
Matt Judon, that's a good move by Elliott Wolf getting rid of him.
Yeah.
Got a third-round pick for him.
Yeah. And hopefully the Atlanta keeps losing. That third-round pick becomes even better. It helps even a little bit more value. So, that's been a good move for the Patriots so far. And I think, the Broncos will get pressure on Kirk Cousins this week. And I think Denver at home. And I'll trust Payton after that tough loss that they get up from this one and find a way to win.
Yeah, I think they bounce back and they win this game and stay in that. And I think they stay in that 7th spot in the AFC. But we got to, speaking of the AFC playoff picture, we got a big game in the AFC playoff picture between the Bengals and the Chargers. This is a must win for the Bengals. This is a must win for the Bengals because the Bengals don't win this, they're going to have a very, very hard time making the playoffs. Chargers, they're right. I think they're the number 6 seed in the AFC playoff picture right now. I think it's going to be a close, competitive game, but I just don't think Joe Burrow's losing this. I don't think he's losing this. I know the Bengals have struggled to run the ball. I know the Bengals don't have the better coach. I know T. Higgins might not play. I just don't see Joe Burrow losing this. I think he has a big game. I think Justin Herbert has a good game too, but the issue in this game is going to be the Bengals score touchdowns, and an issue with the Chargers, this happened against the Cardinals, is they kick 5 field goals. I think this is a game where the Chargers get down in the red zone, but because of their lack of them not having that top pass catcher, the number 1 receiver, I think that hurts them in this game. I think the difference in this game is I'll take Burrow and Chase over Herbert and McConkey. I'll take that. So I think the Bengals need this win. I think they get it. I think they get it 27-23 over the Chargers. But Justin, can Herbert lead the Chargers to a 4th straight win and pretty much end the Bengals' playoff hopes?
I think they do. I got the Chargers 24-17. I'd see your point, obviously, with the Bengals. Like, it is a must win, but the Chargers are a physical football team. I haven't seen that from Cincinnati. And I think the Chargers up front win this football game. And I think, Herbert plays well in this one. I think their offense kind of gets it going. I do think they're able to score touchdowns in this one. And I think the Bengals offense moves the ball a little bit and has a pretty good night, but I don't trust the Bengals defense, and I don't trust the Bengals to be able to run the football. And I think, the Chargers kind of make them a little bit more one-dimensional. They find a way to win the football game.
Yeah, it should be a very interesting game. This game was flexed into Sunday night. They flexed out the Jets and the Colts. Thank God for this game. So this game was flexed into Sunday Night Football. So it should be a very interesting showdown. It's 2 guys who got drafted in the same draft class too. It was 2020. Burrow was number 1 overall. Herbert was number 6 overall. So 2 guys drafted in the same draft class. So it should be a very, very, and they haven't met much. I think they only met once. They only met once in 2021. The Chargers won that game. So they haven't played that. They haven't went up against each other that often. So it should be a very, very interesting game on Sunday Night Football. But that's going to wrap up this edition of Sports Talk with R&J. But we're going to be back in about 10 minutes to talk about the huge game in Athens. We'll be talking about if Georgia can save their season on Saturday night against Tennessee. So make sure you tune in for that.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.